Well, that's a look back at the history of Diablo, and now joining us is one of the key creative forces behind Diablo 3, Leonard Boyarsky. It's great to have you here in our Diablo environment.
How you guys doing?
Good.
We're doing pretty well. Well, we've got a lot of questions for you about Diablo and the story. And one thing I think a lot of the fans are wondering is that you're showing the Diablo 3 beta for the fans to play, but are you guys showing any other gameplay content here or new elements of the game besides that cinematic?
No, it's just the beta and the cinematic.
Okay. Keep people waiting because we are very close, right?
We're a little busy right now.
Exactly. Busy getting ready to launch it hopefully in early 2012 is what you guys have said. Well, let's get right to Twitter. Kat, or do you have
I do. I was actually hoping, because we do have a lot of people who watch this broadcast, and a lot of them are WoW players and didn't play Diablo 1 and 2. So I was wondering if you could briefly talk about the creation of Sanctuary and the creation of mankind and Heaven and Hell's pact.
Sure. The forces of Heaven and Hell, the Burning Hells and the High Heavens, as they're called in Diablo universe, were involved in it, what is known as the Eternal Conflict, fighting. Oh, lost my earpiece there.
Okay. Fighting
each other since the beginning of time to see who would hold sway over creation. Man, I'm not doing good here. And this went on for a long time until a group of angels and demons got tired of this never-ending war and fled and became refugees and took this very powerful artifact known as the World Stone and created Sanctuary with it. And eventually they started mingling, as beings will do, and their offspring were human beings. And the humans that were the creation of the offspring, or the creation of the mating of these two different types of beings, were very powerful. And this was something that scared Heaven and Hell. So through a series of events that we won't get into now, the power of the human beings has been tamped down. But this was done through the World Stone, but the World Stone was destroyed at the end of Diablo 2. So one of the questions that's out there is like, what's going to happen to human beings now that the World Stone isn't there anymore?
Right. And what would happen if humans knew their true nature too, as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's also, like, the players know about it, but as the characters in the game, that's a mystery to them,
right.
and they find out some of this stuff during the course of the game, and it's obviously shocking to them.
quite a setup for quite an epic story, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's been building for a while.
Now, you've introduced a new character in this game, which is Leah, Deckard Cain's niece.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about her?
She's not technically his niece. She just calls him uncle. She is the daughter of Adria. We don't know who her father is. We just know that he was a warrior who disappeared when Tristram fell to the demons after Diablo 1. She's kind of like almost a surrogate for the player because she's heard all of these Deckard Cain's theories throughout the years. She's not quite sure she believes all of them, so she's there to ask questions that maybe the player has and for the player to identify with. And she actually, Deckard Cain likes to hang back in town while you go on adventures. She actually joins you on some of your quests and things like that.
Okay. Now, one of the things you just addressed in your lore panel was a little bit of a controversy, and you addressed it directly, was that you had given an identity to the Dark Wanderer. Can you, for people who didn't get to hear in the panel, do you want to address that? After they fix your wonderful earpieces? Live TV.
Thank you.
Live TV.
Yeah, because of what happened between Diablo 1 and 2 was, in Diablo 1 you could play the rogue, or you could play the sorcerer, or you could play the warrior. And I'm just going to take these out.
No problem.
And you could play any of those characters. But in Diablo 2, we kind of made the jump that because we had to pick one character to portray as the antagonist, we chose the warrior. The warrior, you know, the male hero. The warrior was the obvious precursor to the Dark Wanderer in Diablo 2. So we've taken that a little bit further. We've given him the identity of Leoric's son. Leoric's other son was Albrecht. He was the person who was possessed by Diablo in Diablo 1, who then became the world's vessel for Diablo, if you will. And the reason we did this was just because, you know, when we go into novels or if we go into any kind of other media, it's like you really just need something to hang your hat on. Him just being a generic warrior wasn't good enough. And this also enables us to kind of tie it into the... Leoric has this really... He's really tied in, you know, he came over and Lazarus, who was his advisor, was the one who released Diablo in the first place. So this kind of really neatly ties it back into the whole family of Leoric. It becomes kind of a familial thing.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, there are two lesser evils left at the beginning of the game.
Yes.
There's Belial and Azmodan.
Yep.
And this is who we're going to go up against?
Yes, those are the main villains in Diablo 3.
Okay, now I saw some of the concept art for Azmodan. I wish we had B-roll of it, but wow, that is the description of lust and avarice and everything. And it's this big, huge guy with gold rings everywhere and armor up top.
Yeah.
What was your thinking in concepting this character for the game?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What was your thinking in coming up with the backstory and the personality of this?
Well, we already had, they already existed as concepts.
Exactly.
In the other two games that they had been mentioned. You know, so we knew he was the Lord of Sin, Azmodan. So we just kind of riffed on that. You know, what does a Lord of Sin look like? You know, he kind of encompasses all the 7 deadly sins. And as we touched on, his lieutenants are the actual 7 deadly sins.
Oh, before we go to Twitter questions, I thought this was really interesting. You put well, she's not the Mistress of Pain anymore. Now she is called the Mistress of Lust. Is that her name now?
Yes, she's the Maiden of Lust.
The Maiden of Lust. And you had actually taken her out of the game until you saw the costume at Blizzcon
exactly.
a few years ago.
We were so impressed with the costume that we said that she has to be in the game. This is just too impressive.
I think that's amazing.
Look at that, inspiring the Blizzard developers even. Exactly. All right, well, there's some pretty impressive costumes yesterday. Well, let's get right to Twitter. Leonard, there are a lot of questions for you, and if you guys have questions, you can send them to us at Jeff Keighley and at Cat Hunter, and we'll get them in front of the Diablo team. This first question comes from Uriah, and this says, rumor has it that Diablo has taken on a feminine form, and the Black Soulstone trailer kind of hints at that. Is this true?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Rumor has it that Diablo has taken on a feminine form, and the Black Soulstone trailer kind of hints at it. I didn't pick up that, but is
no,
that
I
true?
didn't pick that up from the Black Soulstone trailer. There's art that some people are saying that like on the program that maybe makes her look a little feminine. Diablo takes various forms. We've never really seen the real form of Diablo.
Okay.
He takes different forms in terms of like how he's manifesting. Right. So that's all I really want to say about that.
Okay.
All right, we'll keep some things quiet.
I have here from Eldakar JS. We saw in the trailer that Azmodan, the Lord of Sin, will play a large part in D3. Will we see Belial, the Lord of Light, as well, actually physically interact with him?
Belial, you actually do fight Belial and Azmodan in this game.
Okay.
Wow, all right. Another good question that comes up. This is interesting from a story perspective. This is from at Private Bundy. It says, can we expect moral decisions in Diablo 3 like we see in Mass Effect, or is it a more linear story? Are we going to have any choice in this story?
No, actually, that's a very interesting question because early on we had toyed with the idea of adding player choice, but it really didn't fit with the style of gameplay. It really kind of ground things to a halt when you had to make these choices, and it just didn't really work with the fast-paced Diablo style of gameplay. So we moved away from that. But I mean, it does really lend itself to thinking that, which is why we came up with that idea and why they're probably thinking the same things, because it is all about corruption. It is all about these moral choices that people make.
All right,